So for your individual curriculum, I have for you a primary one. So this is geared toward those K to 2 students, and it is all about defiance and following directions. So let's talk about why you should use individual counseling with students at this age, with the littles, right? Those primary students. Well, primary kiddos have needs too, right? So these are our tier 3 students. These are the students who need the most support. So regardless of age, we want to support them, right? You may be thinking that the older kids have, more intense problems, or they may be easier to work with, but that's why I want to create this curriculum to make it easy and accessible for you to reach those younger students in the one-on-one setting. And it's highly interactive and hands-on because we know that these guys aren't really reading or writing a lot at this stage. So we want them to be able to use hands-on activities to work through these counseling sessions. And it's proactive and preventative. So I mentioned this in the Wiggle Worms, the group that you received this month, talking about how at the younger age, when they learn these skills, they can carry them through the rest of their lives, right? Like how many of us wish that some of our students in 4th or 5th grade had had this individual curriculum when they were younger, right? So that's why it's so important to do this individual counseling, even with the little guys. So here's a sneak peek of what it looks like in action. As you can see, highly interactive and fun. And it comes with feelings check posters. So you get 2 posters to choose from to help the students identify how they're feeling and why. I totally recommend that you do that feelings check at the beginning of each session. And you get a counselor's guide, so you get like a best practices guide all about individual counseling, and then a specific counselor's guide for this resource with the ASCO mindsets and behaviors, the objectives, and a supplemental video. Now you receive 5 activities, and the activities, you can use in whatever order you like. So you can use them in the order listed here, or you can switch it up. You can, if you're going to meet with a student over like 8 sessions or 7 sessions, 5's kind of short, right? You're probably meeting with them like 6 to 8 sessions. So I did this intentionally because I know sometimes these activities take a little longer. So you could split one up over 2 sessions, or if you're having a good conversation, no need to rush through them. Or if you want to knock them all out in 5 sessions, you can do that as well. So first up is the following directions coloring sheet. So this one is just having the students envision themselves following directions at school. So, just making sure they know what it looks like to follow directions. Then there is a bead craft. So in this one, you will need a few supplies like some multicolored beads, string, or yarn. It can be super simple, but the kids are going to earn a bead each time they follow a direction, and this is based on your observation of them during the session or by communicating with their teacher. So this can be like an ongoing thing over your sessions. So, walk quietly in the hallway. If you see them doing that, or if their teacher said that they've gotten better at that, they'll earn that bead. Practice keeping hands to self. Same thing. These might, if you're in an individual session, this one might not be so bad, but maybe you go observe them at like recess or during an unstructured time. Are they still keeping their hands to themselves? Raising their hand before speaking. You could go observe them in their classroom or just touch base with the teacher to see if they earn this bead. And then write your name on a piece of paper. That one's simple, following directions that they could do in the class with you. And if they can do it, then they could earn that bead right away. And next up we have a board game. So I love a board game. So the students are going to roll a die, and depending on where they land, they'll get a different card. So there's a following directions card pile and a not following directions card pile. And it gives different examples, and then that determines if they get to move forward or backwards. So for example, following directions, you raise your hand before speaking. You enter your classroom appropriately. Not following directions would be getting out of your seat or throwing a fit when you don't get your way. A lot of times we think these things are obvious, but we have to remember we don't really know what's being modeled at home or what's been modeled to them in the past. So we need to teach this very explicitly, how to follow directions. This is what's expected of you at school and how you can do it. Then we have a Play-Doh choice map. So this one's really fun. Break out the Play-Doh, and this way the kids, you're going to cut out the pictures from choices and consequences, and then they're going to make arrows connecting the choices to the consequences. So for example, if you refuse to do your work and then you have to complete your work at recess time, that would be a consequence of that choice. Or if you complete all of your classwork, you get to enjoy recess time. That would be a consequence of that choice. So it's just a cool way for the kids, instead of just pairing them together, the Play-Doh makes it really hands-on and something that they can do with their hands while, you're having these conversations. Then a following directions sorting game. So this one, they're just going to make 2 piles based on the images. Which one shows images of students following directions and which one shows images of students not following directions. So again, you're going to, ask them while you're looking at these. These are just images because we know that we have early readers here, or you might have the little kinder kiddos who don't know how to read yet. So it's image based, but you can have the conversations like, what do you see in this picture? How can you tell the students following directions? How can you tell the students not following directions? And then, of course, I have some data tracking tools for you. So you'll receive 3 data tracking tools. It's a self-assessment, a behavior survey, and then this check-in rating scale. So the check-in scale, the students are going to clip their clip on how they've been doing since the last week that they saw you. So have they been following directions most of the time, following directions sometimes, or maybe they haven't been following directions. They're going to kind of check in, and then you can make a note of how their clip moves just to kind of keep, track. Are they increasing? Are they, every day is kind of different? You can have like a little status update there. And then the self-assessment, again, we're talking about our young kiddos here. So this one's really visual. They can just color in the smiley face that corresponds. So I can follow directions at school, yes, maybe, or no. The yes would obviously be the smiley face, the no would be the frowny face, and then the maybe is the middle face there. Then we have those behavior surveys. So obviously these are less childish and more formal looking because these we're sending to parents and teachers. So you're going to send these to parents and teachers before services begin, and then again in phase 2 after services have ended. And this gives us a really clear picture of what's going on at home and what's going on at school and how those things look the same or maybe they look wildly different. We're not sure. But this way we can kind of see based on the students' observations, on the previous check-in chart, maybe they think they have been following directions great this last week. But then you can always, refer to the parent data or check in with parents and see if that's actually true. And I have for you digital versions. So this is especially helpful for the behavior surveys. A lot of times it's hard to get those papers back from parents, right? They get lost in the backpack or the kid forgets to turn them in, or it's just really hard. So send them a quick little Google link, right? A Google form. They can quickly fill it out on their phone, in pickup line or wherever, and then you can have their results. So I highly recommend doing the digital version with parents and teachers to get immediate feedback. On the right hand side, you can see this is the self-assessment in digital form as well. So if you want your kiddos to do it on the iPad instead of coloring, I think coloring is more fun, but if the digital version fits your needs or you're meeting virtually, then this could be perfect. Okay guys, I hope you are loving this individual curriculum, and I hope your littles do too.